Horses in Red Dead Redemption 2 are the unsung heroes of the game, since without them you'd be a lot less accepted into society than the developers of Mixtape. They are a status symbol in this game. If you don't have one, you are a nobody, just a flaccid bag of skin that knows how to handle a firearm. Anyway, what if we could play Red Dead Redemption 2 as the horse? Yep, that's right, the days of simply using a horse for travel has ended, and now that's all we can do, as life as a horse is duller than eating chicken and rice for dinner every night. Turns out the game won't let you turn Arthur Morgan into a horse during a mission and instantly kills you for doing so, because I don't know, it's bored whipping the developers that are working on GTA 6, but you can become a horse during free roam without much issue. I suppose the game approaches this the same way teachers in the 60s approached bullying. You know, as long as it's not in the class, it's fair game. I found this out during the first mission when Dutch tries to reaffirm his personality by stating he's not a complete arsehole, and he is just someone that owns the highly offensive descriptor for a mean, obnoxious, stupid, and or deeply unpleasant person. After finding out the game kills you for trying to change your identity, I switched on the setting that would copy only the model, and Jesus Christ, what an absolute catastrophic culmination of pixels portraying an abomination. It looks like if McDonald's employees attempted genetic cloning. I should have been left behind in Blackwater with everything that went horrifically wrong. After I tried levitating and burying myself under huge amounts of snow, Tony Montana style, I skipped ahead to a later save file and became the horse. There were some growing pains, of course, such as my health and stamina bars being crippled straight away, leading to my horse lowering its head like he's about to meet royalty. I attempted to resolve this issue by sticking my long face right into Pearson's stew, but unfortunately it had zero effect other than clearing my sinuses. I tried socializing with the other gang members, but they weren't very impressed with my new awakening. I cannot believe what horrible things they had to say to me. I could not broadcast it, otherwise YouTube will come after me for allowing such horrendous language. That is the only reason, I assure you, and not because I forgot to record the audio during this particular session. No, it couldn't possibly be that. No. Anyway, after failing to fit in with my former lifestyle, friends, and other valuable connections, I decided to embrace my new identity and attempted to enter into a new social hierarchy, a herd of horses. Despite my best efforts to impress the group, they were not happy with my presence, and they all turned their back to me in disgust, since I am the epitome of a pug trying to join a dog sledging team. I tried jumping over this horse, but failed like a talent show contestant that didn't have a sob story to lean on in place of personality. Why can I not perform this basic maneuver? Well, apparently, without a human on my back, the ability will remain locked. I bothered a human asking him to be my friend, and in return perhaps I could learn how to leap from the ground with both legs in the air. He did not see that as a benefit to his life, and so, in a very calm manner, shot me several times. He cowered behind a rock for most of the altercation, probably due to his fear of my potential power that will be unlocked once I have mastered the controls. It's like your brother handing you the controller for a bit while he nips out and you're trying your best to learn as much as possible without fucking it up. Anyway, I finished him off with a textbook cow kick to the head that gave him more whiplash than telling your father you were going to get a fine arts degree. Kicked a deer, which led to me panicking that a train was going to steal my venison steak on legs. Some gang members ambushed a law enforcement convoy carrying one of their friends. I decided to take action and bolted straight for the nearest one and trampled him to death. I did have a little more trouble dispatching the rest of them, since after every time I attack, the cooldown time takes so long that I could have rearranged the furniture in my apartment and master a French dish that takes people ridiculous amounts of time to perfect. After Greece regained a structured economy, I moved on to the town of Valentine, realised the newspaper boy is more steadfast than a wife during an argument, struggled to get up some steps as an NPC looks at me like I've just taken a massive shit in his cornflakes, went down an alleyway where my sheer presence was enough for an NPC to pull out his gun and tried to fast track my way to the glue factory. After ruining everyone's backyard, I left him behind, assuming he will get the idea that I am not a threat. Or he just runs out of bullets anyway, since his accuracy is that of a visually impaired squirrel. Met a fellow horse, I'm going to call him Hugh Janus, and tried freeing him by running into the fence barricades, which was interrupted by this muppet from earlier still having ammo to spare. Hugh Janus collapsed, but magically stood up again. Hugh Janus was then shot dead, and I I enacted revenge on the offending bellend, tackling him and his horse using my head. I attempted to free some horses from their tethered positions as I believed they would be better on their own. That quickly backfired as one of them kicked me in the face as a way of telling me to fuck off. Met a blind fortune teller or wizard, I could not tell, since he must have cast a spell on me as I lost control of my movements for about 5 minutes. The horse is literally acting like it's trying to get rid of an emotionally dependent horsefly. I arrived in Emerald Ranch only to discover yet more horror as my fellow horsefolk were trapped in their own shit, surrounded by a freestanding outdoor barrier made of manufactured timber. What's worse is they have the most racist neighbours ever to exist. Cows. Cows are stubborn creatures. So stubborn, in fact, they will never back down from a confrontation or from an elevated position. I broke down the barricades for the horses to escape, but they seemingly do not give a shit. Trying to make it obvious to them that they can indeed escape, I kicked over a couple of farmers. One of them was so embarrassed by a 4-legged domestic animal that he sought refuge with the cows. The threat is neutralized and passed on the good news to the horses, who again did not give a shit, and kicked me in the face for giggles. With my heart broken, farmer's spine shattered, and my spirit devastated, I found myself in West Elizabeth outside of Strawberry, where I came across a hunter who got caught in his own bear trap. Unfortunately, he's not a very good hunter. As is the saying, teach a man to hunt, he will inevitably end up killing himself on his first outing. It's a steep learning curve, I will give it that. He asked for my help without being aware that I am indeed a horse, and couldn't be more ill-equipped for this situation than if I was wearing a sombrero during a blackout. Regardless, I decided to help the man, which led me to have a brief career in contortionism, as every bodily function worked in reverse and back to front at the same time. I bid the man farewell and he offered me some ammo for my troubles, forgetting that horses are unable to hold guns unless they were strapped to their knob. Said hello to some animals that weren't horses or cows and arrived at the town known as Strawberry. Did my best to blend in with the locals despite me being the size of a truck. Said hello to the mayor and he seemed awfully enthusiastic about my visit, like a Labrador waiting for its owner. I found out that certain self-harm activities are treated as a way to increase your financial wealth. Made sure that the working horses were receiving a proper wage at no less than 3 apples a day, since apples to horses are what cocaine is to upper-class housewives in the mid-50s. I left Strawberry and came across a drunk driver who miraculously survived a head-on collision. I wanted to make sure he was okay and decided to examine his liver a bit more thoroughly, the same way a narcissist examines a hole in the ground before sticking his knob in it and claiming that the entire world is spinning on it. Got into an altercation that was completely started by me. I used my evasive techniques that would qualify within a social climate to avoid getting shot and tackled the assailant and the horse he was riding. I finally kicked the guy to death and finished off some therapy with the horse before crashing into another horse rider, leading to another situation that again revolves around the 5 stages of grief. I suppose we skipped over denial and resorted to anger almost immediately. Not sure how the next stage will work out, to be honest. Maybe this guy will eventually put down his gun and realise that answering violence with more violence is not a way to acknowledge the new reality. I'm not saying he will do that, but it's a hopeful possibility. On the other hand, hope is designed to be crushed under 1,200 pounds of raw 2013 food scandal. Arrived at a logging camp where this turnip didn't look both ways before crossing and resulted in me knocking him over like a pram next to a parent with poor protective instincts. This minor incident told all NPCs in the area that their anger meter should move from Swiss to apocalyptic. So gunfire rained down on my parade like someone pissing on it, and it was catastrophic in every single way. I ran away and encountered a prospector looking for gold in a river. I'll admit it, I was being a bit nosy, but with a face like this, I don't know how else you could describe any social interaction. Anyway, I killed him, or at the very least gave him severe brain damage, and moved on with my life. I went down south, close to the riverbank, where I saw a man taking a break and sitting up against a tree in a very peaceful manner. I decided to ruin this ambience by simply walking vaguely into his territory. He then took this personally, and I swear to God, officer, he was reaching. Attempted to free the horses in his charge, but I couldn't rip off the strapping with my gigantic teeth. Bumped into 2 cabbages who tried to open a safe with a sledgehammer, and if you look closely with an intelligent eye, you can see that this is a clear representation of gamers telling a AAA games company to make a good product. Anyway, they killed me and left me mangled by the side of the road like a flattened possum. After kickflipping my way back into shape, turned off the main road and bumped into a bunch of racists in the woods. The pajama party ended, however, as it took this group way too long to figure out that I wasn't one of them. Kicked them all to death and arrived in Rhodes and started fraternizing with the locals. This, however, ended with him falling over and claiming I had assaulted him without his permission. Kicked him into some wooden fencing, freed a fellow horse whose rider was less than pleased with me, so he got his mates and started shooting at me. I knocked one of them off their horse and one of them got dragged on their backside by their horse, and the last one was shot by the sheriff, who came to help and finished off the remaining enemies. I thanked him and we later celebrated this new friendship with a drink in the saloon. Went to the swamplands and introduced myself to the horses that were just standing around like the world's most useless co-workers. Ran around the swamps for a bit until I saw a man in need. He had been poisoned by a snake and he was asking for me to help him, so I did. And the two witnesses just stood there and looked on like the chaperone during your first prostate exam. Said hello to an alligator and went into the city of Saint Denis. Found another group of horses all cooped up and ran through multiple fences so that they can leave at any point. And I was calmly asked to leave, with a kick to the face by one of the horse residents. Found a beggar and I had the option to give him money. Yes, I forgot horses have the ability to understand what money is, let alone have pockets to carry it. After I initiated the sequence to give the beggar money, I ended up flipping around and landing on my ass. How kind of me to pay him to see me spazzing the fuck out. Ran over a couple of people completely by accident and was not at all motivated by how bored I was. Then a completely different group of people saw me as a horse that was in desperate need of being put down physically. They genuinely thought that punching a horse in the face would result in them acquiring some kind of achievement that is totally worth their time. Rammed into someone else's back end, which led to a situation I was not surprised about. Kicked some police officers and tried to raise my own army of five-legged mammals that are a bit partial to telling humans to fuck off once in a while. There was a flaw, unfortunately, because I forgot horses could not give more fucks than your mum after she made the rounds on the sailor's ship. I killed some hillbilly nutters before initiating German U-boat mode and started targeting civilian vessels. Admittedly, the vessels in question was just a canoe, and they didn't seem to care that I was trying to mess up their pathfinding and beach them on the nearby riverbank. They didn't take nicely to that suggestion and smacked me on the head with their paddle. I think after that, I gave up playing as a horse in Red Dead Redemption 2. There's only so many accidents and lobotomies you can commit before you inadvertently become an enforcer for Darwin's Law. But anyway, that will do for this video. I hope you enjoyed the adventures of a horse burying their hoof into bellends for 10 minutes. If you did enjoy the video, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I would very much appreciate it, especially since you made it to the end. If you would like to see another video of mine, it will be on screen. Trust me, you will have an absolute blast with it. Anyway, thank you for putting up with me and for lending me your patience, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next video.